Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Phillies show. Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury. I'm Todd Zwolecki. It is Monday, May 20th, 2024. The Phillies swept the Nationals over the weekend. They're off to the greatest start in Phillies history through 48 games, tied with the 93 Phillies, I think the 76 Phillies. They keep winning and winning and winning. They keep winning so much that last night, Ruben, I saw you had a little sweep martini, you're calling it?
I
what
went
is
with
this?
The sweep martini, man. And we went back into our little deck that we just finished off here. And
Oh, that's your place?
that's my place, baby.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, it's right off. So I had to go to a little sweep teeny.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we were thinking about going out and having a cocktail. We said, well, let's just go hang out at our deck.
All right.
And we had a little sweep teeny and celebrated a phenomenal series by the Fightins. It was just really spectacular.
Are you a dirty martini guy? How do you do
Filth, it? Not dirty, filthy. I like the filth. No, it was I actually, we shook it up myself. We got a nice little we have a nice little speakeasy right as you enter our home, and then we built a couple of decks out there outside. You don't get that too often here in Old City, but right. We're very fortunate.
Jimmy, you're not a martini guy, I don't think.
No, I've never had one in my life.
Are you a beer guy? You just straight beer?
I like to have a beer or a glass of red wine if I'm eating some pasta or pizza, but yeah, that's about it.
About you, Todd?
What's that?
I enjoy an old fashioned. I will make old fashions. In fact, I make so many old fashions. I have the ingredients out on my kitchen counter upstairs. I make a big batch, throw the bottle in the freezer, so anytime I want it, I can just shake it up, pour it out over a thing of ice, and rock and roll from there.
I love it. I'm actually a big fan of you. I'm a big fan of bourbon. I've actually been turned over the last 2 or 3 years. I got turned on to bourbon, and it's just the brown water's gotten me.
It's gotten me too. It's gotten me too.
What's your favorite bourbon, Todd?
Well, right now, just to mix these old fashions, I do a little Elijah Craig. I'll just do some Maker's Mark as well. Usually Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark for an old fashioned. Keep it somewhat simple. Very, very nice at the end of the night. Come home.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. Speaking of very nice, Kody Clemens.
Wow.
It's just crazy how big he's been coming up the last couple of days. The game-tying home run, 2 outs in the 9th inning on Saturday. My colleague Paul Casella said the Phillies have only hit 3 of those home runs, 2 outs, 9th inning, game-tying home run. Bryce Harper hit one last year. Trea Turner hit one last year. And Kody Clemens hit one on Saturday night. Then he hits the go-ahead double in the 5th inning on Sunday. Kody's batting .321, 3 doubles, 1 home run, or 1 triple, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, a 1.166 OPS in his first 11 games this season. That is insane. I looked this up. There's only been 41 players ever that's had a run like that to start, their first 11 games to start a season. Ruben, you were one of those players.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I know I had a good week.
You came up and now it doesn't mean from the beginning of the season, first 11 games of the season with the team in 93, Ruben.
Yes.
You came up and you had a Kody Clemens week. It's a fun list because you look at it, you have Chase Utley's on there, Bryce Harper's on there, Mike Schmidt's on there, Pat Burrell, Dick Allen, Chuck Klein, and you got Ruben Amaro and Kody Clemens. What do you guys think of Kody Clemens' play? It's been ridiculous.
Ruben Amaro and Kody Clemens, both second-generation big leaguers.
That's right.
I love his swing. He's so short to the ball, Ruben. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a really good swing to be able to manage off the bench. That's one of the tough things. It's one of the tough things to do is to manage your barrel and get your barrel to the baseball when you're coming off the bench, especially in this day and age when the velocities are taller, obviously. You got to be ready for the fastball. But I mean, he's done a nice job on all the pitches. He's hit a couple of cutters. He's hit a couple of changeups. He's hit a couple of, four seamers, a couple of sinkers. He's, I mean, here's where I'm at on him. For him to have gone down, I know the feeling. Like you get sent down. You don't feel like you necessarily should have gotten sent down because he had a great spring. The numbers don't work for you. You can't put 27 men on the field on a roster. You have to have 26. And, he doesn't sulk. He goes down there, he plays. And, the fact that he played so well in spring training, that means a lot. And the way you handle yourself in spring training means a lot when it comes to like making a decision to bring a guy back to the big leagues. So he was not super hot when he was playing down there in Lehigh Valley, but he played well enough and sustained it well enough that, hey, we need a left-handed bat. Let's bring him. And he's done extremely well, man. I got to give him some love, and he's handled it extraordinarily well. Not only that, but I think he's played great defense. I'm really surprised by he played at second base. And he's been very solid, turned a couple double plays. He's made some range plays. He doesn't look nervous or disappointed or like not disappointed wasn't the like disjointed. He just feels like pretty natural there. And I'm really impressed by that too, Jim.
Well, I've been thinking a little bit about him this weekend. Obviously, you grow up wanting to play in the big leagues. You get to the big leagues. You want to be an everyday guy. Everybody aspires to be an everyday guy, but not everybody is. And there still could be a place for the guy that plays off the bench. And he's looked so good in that role. But you mentioned his swing holding up to be a potential bench guy. I think, he could have a future as that type of a player. I mean, just what we're seeing here in the short term, and the defense is an important part of it. But the fact that he gives you such a good at bat when he doesn't get those consistent at bats, and I just think it starts with, boom, he's right to the ball. He's really short to the ball, and you could have a nice career. I know pinch hitting is probably not as important as it once was now that we have DH in both leagues, but these guys are still very important when you're thinking about team construction and when you're constructing a good championship caliber team. Sometimes your edge players are hugely important to where you want to go, like a Greg Dobbs to those great Phillies teams. He had couple great years and was a big instrumental part in that team. And, so far, it's only 45 games or so, but 48 games. But, Kody Clemens he's helped them win ball games. And that's what it's about. They're getting contributions really from every corner of their roster. And good job by him. And obviously big dramatic home run. He's hit a few of them.
Is there any way for him? We're really jumping ahead of ourselves here because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how long Trea Turner is going to take to come back. Sounds like he's getting somewhat close. He's running and he's fielding. He's going to take BP on the field this week, supposedly. You don't know what's going to happen between now and then. But say Kody Clemens keeps playing well and hitting like this. Is there any way he stays on this team? I have trouble seeing a way that he stays on this team. Maybe he gets option and you just bring him back up.
I know there's a way to stay on the team. Go to 14 position players and 12 pitchers. There's no rule against that.
That's true.
I mean, listen, we played seasons with 9 pitchers. I mean, with the way this team and the length that they have in their rotation, it is not beyond the possibility. Now he does have options. And so, right. That's the beauty of what Kody Clemens brings to the table as well as a person in the front office. You're loving the fact that this guy, you can kind of do what you want with him. I think there's a maximum of how many times you do it during the course of the season. Was it 4 or 5 times? And then you can't option back down. But that said, they got a lot of flexibility with them, but they can go to 12. They can go to 12 pitchers because their starters are going, and they're averaging like over 6 innings pitched per start. And so, at least. I don't know the exact numbers. I wish I had them in front of me, but I think it's like a 6 1/3, or it's more than anybody. I can't imagine that there's another team that has more average innings per start than the Phillies. I mean, if it's one team that can do it, it might be the Phillies who can go to 12 instead of having 13 pitchers. Just a thought.
Well, as we like to say, and we've seen, something will present itself. And
that's right.
This 34-14 start matches 93 and 76 for the best start over 48 games. And obviously they're cruising at 35,000 feet, but still a long way from the landing strip. Right. One of the things that I think becomes very important when you get off to a start like this is the skipper, and is the leadership, and is the messaging. And I just love the messaging that Rob Thomson is imparting, and it's basically stay humble. And stay humble because they've accomplished nothing. This is fun. This is tremendous, but we all know where the big shiny trophy is, and it's in October. And you need to stack the pennies along the way, and they're doing a great job at that. And I also think they have the personalities in the clubhouse that they're not going to come off the gas. I mean, Harper's not going to let you come off the gas. He wants it so bad. Wheeler wants it so bad. He's not going to let you take your foot off the gas.
Schwarber for sure.
Schwarber's nuts about it. He was pissed when they lost one game 2 weeks ago. But I really like the messaging of Rob Thomson is imparting. What do you think of it, Todd? To me, it becomes a good challenge, keeping everybody focused because things are going so well. Keeping everybody realizing that this is fun, but we haven't accomplished what we're really here for.
Yeah, Rob's talked about that quite a bit over the past couple weeks because, the script has flipped so much of slow start. How are you going to dig yourselves out of it to now how are you going to keep your foot on the gas? And I think another thing that is a helpful reminder for the Phillies as they keep playing well and just to keep them hungry, I guess you could say, is the fact that the team they dispatched of in the last two postseasons was the Braves, and nothing is given to you. You win 105 games in the regular season. It does not mean you're going to go to win the World Series. So keep that edge. So I think that's another reminder, but Rob is ideally suited to handling this clubhouse. And that's a big reason why the players like him so much. He's got that good way of communicating and talking to these guys when things are going well, when things are going poorly, keeps them on an even keel. And I think he's going to be able to keep this team motivated throughout the summer to really wrap things up.
And so this is the cool thing about this ball club that I really admire. You said, teams take on the personality of the manager. So if you'll notice, the Phillies are the best team in baseball. You don't see these guys doing all this gimmicky BS when guys hit home runs and putting hats on and putting cloaks on and putting all that shit on their bodies and doing all those. But they expect to do these things. You when you're a champion, you expect to do these things. And Rob, that's not Rob's personality. I don't know who made the decision that you don't need a home run hat and all that crap that you do in the. They literally just enjoy winning and they expect to win. And so they're going about their business in a really, after the daycare guys afterwards, they pour some stuff on guys in the interviews. That's about the extent of like the swag that you see these guys. And they have swag, believe me, they enjoy it and they're having fun, but they know that at the end of the day, it's about winning baseball games and not all the other bullshit that goes on. And I love that. I honestly love it. It's nice to celebrate wins and they should, and that's important. But for me, it's and you should be enjoying your successes. I don't want to sound like an old hat, I don't want to sound like the old guy that you shouldn't, but like their emotions on the field are genuine and they're not planned and it's not like a show. They're there to win baseball games and they do it in a really business-like manner, but they also are having a lot of fun with each other.
Do you like the little shimmy they do when they get to
I
first
do like
base?
the shimmy. Yeah.
Do you like the shimmy?
I like the little shimmy.
I miss I miss the cradle. That was a
The
good
cradle's
one.
good. Cradle's good. Cradle's good.
The cradle is very clever.
No, they're very there's a lot of clever stuff. I mean, Marshy's got a lot of personality,
Right.
but he's super respectful. Garrett Stubbs is sort of the not the class clown, but he's a guy that has fun there. Keeps it light. But the young guys are actually, when you start thinking about some of the guys who are younger, not young anymore. Stott, Bohm, Marsh, in particular, those three guys, they're not showmen. They go out there and do their business, and they play baseball, and they play it well, really well, and they don't do all the bullshit. They have fun, but they don't. It's not about the chrome.
Todd was a big fan of the home run hat when they had it that year, the sombrero.
That is not true.
Remember the time I pissed off Bryce by asking him about it? So they did the home run. You remember that, Todd?
Yes, I do.
They were down 11-1, and Harper hit a home run, and somebody put the sombrero on his head. So now they're down 11-2, and I just thought, like, wow, odd time for a celebration. You're getting smoked 11-2. And I asked him about it, and he wasn't. I forgot what his answer was. It was a legitimate answer that you need to celebrate the moments. But he was clearly irked that I asked him about it. Yeah. But funny thing is, it disappeared the next year.
And should have. I mean, I'm about celebrating stuff. That's cool. I like it, but I like it to have it be more natural.
Yeah, and not like 11-2. Somebody down.
Yeah, somebody hits a home run when it really means something, and you pump your fist and stuff like that, or you make a big pitch and you strike a guy out and you get out of the inning and the guy's fired up.
Jose Alvarado.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's like emotion, dude. That's not a planned thing where you have to do a show. And right. That's what I really dig about this team, man. And it's sort of like Rob Thomson's personality. I think that's really cool.
Man, can you imagine what's going to happen this week if they break out of cheesesteak hat? You guys, your heads are going to explode.
Not if they do it sparingly on big wins, big home runs. Just save it for when you like big cheesesteak hat. Save it for when you're really hungry, not like when you've been snacking all
day. Ruben, you mentioned Stott and Bohm. I was looking at Stott's numbers. I mean, he's on another ridiculous tear. His last 18 games, he's batting .382, 4 doubles, 1 triple, 4 home runs, 1.242 OPS. And then I started thinking, man, I wonder if he could make the All-Star team this year after that terrible start he had. He had a .559 OPS through his first 25 games. And Stott, I mean, I'm just going to use WAR, Fangraphs WAR, just as kind of like a baseline reference. Right now, he's third in the National League in WAR amongst third basemen. Kettle Marte's first, Bryce Turang from the Brewers is second. So then I said, I wonder where everybody else ranks in the Phillies infield. Bryce Harper is first in NL in WAR amongst first basemen. Alec Bohm is first among NL third basemen. And Trea Turner is tied for third, despite not playing for the past few weeks, among NL shortstops. And I looked this up. The Phillies have not had they have not had 2 All-Star infielders since 2009, Utley and Ryan Howard. They have not had 3 All-Star infielders since Pete Rose, Mike Schmidt, and Manny Trio in 1982. Right now, we're seeing one of the best early season performances by any Phillies infield in recent memory.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the year, NBC Sports Philadelphia asked us to do them pre and post in the beginning of the season, first game. They asked us to make some predictions. I predicted this guy to win a batting title, Stott. Because I think he had an opportunity with the way he was sort of, no disrespect to Luis Ariz, because Luis Ariz gets nothing but hits. He's like was the Bo Bichette of the National League. With accumulating hits. But I mean, this he's getting better and better, and he's not, in the early part of the season, he was sort of collapsing on his backside. He wasn't standing tall. He wasn't using his hands as well down to the ball. One of the issues was last year that he changed was to make sure his top hand was getting involved. He's getting his top hand involved. His hands are working beautifully. He's got really good choices when he's at the plate. He swings at strikes generally, and he's a really good two-strike hit. Excuse me, he's a really good two-strike hitter. And so all those elements can help you put yourself in a position to be a batting title winner just because he gives himself a chance to barrel the ball pretty consistently. I love the way he's bounced back. You know, there were some whispers in there for a little while in that first month that he was, you know, kind of cruising along that, is he developing? Is something happened to him? I heard some whispers about, he does have options. Should we, there's other guys like Kody Clemens and others. I don't think there's any real discussion about it, but he had a really, really terrible start. Mm-hmm. I mean, people forget. And then he became Bryson Stott again and made the adjustments. And now he's just spectacular. And yes, I do think that he is all-star caliber worthy because of his offense, but also because of his defense, because the man can play second base. And I know he's playing a lot more shortstop or a little bit more shortstop. But, man, this guy can do it. He can do it. He can hit. He can play.
And Alec Bohm, too. I mean, you got two guys that are like knock, knock, knock on their prime, like the door is opening to their prime years. And they've both built really, really strong foundations. And, they probably have one leg through that door. But we're going to see, it's very possible we're going to see a really good stretch of 4, 5, 6 years out of these guys because, you have that veteran nucleus on this team with the Schwarbers, the Harpers, the Real Mutos. And this next crew under them is a terrific group as well. I love that they have that in their chemistry and their makeup. You got guys that are well into their prime. You got guys just entering it. And they all, mesh together. I mean, very well. The chemistry on this team is really a beautiful thing. I mean, winning will do that. It makes everybody happy. It's why you want to come to the ballpark. Losing is miserable. But they're really, Bohm is. I mean, he's leading the majors in RBIs.
It's awesome.
Who'd have thunk it? And 2 years ago, when he was, maybe ticketed for Lehigh Valley or who knows where.
So let me just make one comment again with Bowman and Todd. You can chime. But so Alec Bohm yesterday goes sacrifice fly to right, man on third, less than 2 outs. Sacrifice line drive to right, another sac fly for 2 RBIs. And then his last at bat, he gets a couple of guys on, and someone throws a piece of cheese on the inside part of the plate, and he smokes it to left for a home run. I mean, this guy understands, and he understood hitting really, really well when he first got to the big leagues. Yes. One of the reasons why he was almost a rookie of the year and probably should have been a rookie of the year in 2020 in that short season. But to watch him situationally hit and his approach and his and now he's starting to understand when he can get out front or, turn on some balls. You're going to see some more home runs. You may not see 40 home runs out of the guy ever, but that's okay because he's going to end up hitting in the high 280s and driving in over 100 runs every year. And if you do that, my friends, that's like all-star caliber winning baseball. And that's what I love about the kid. Sorry.
And a big difference between him, he believes he can do it now. He believes he belongs. The mind is so important in all this. He believes he can handle that pitch. He didn't try to fillet that pitch into right field. He saw it and his eyes went boom and his bat head came out and he murdered it.
Well, Ruben, you said on the broadcast yesterday, I can't remember, or sometime over the weekend, he was in a big spot and Harper was at the plate and it's like, are they going to pitch to Harper? And you said, pick your poison. You want to go with Bryce Harper, who's one of the best in the game, or you want to go with the guy that just puts the ball in play and gets an RBI every time he steps to the plate. And that's the thing about Bohm. I think it was great is that he does not strike out in those situations, runners in scoring position. He's always putting the ball in play. Always putting the ball in play. You don't really see him have a bad at bat ever with runners in scoring position.
He's going to make Bryce Harper better. Remember, we were talking about who's going to protect him. We had JT back there, and JT was fine. But the growth of and when he started hitting, I was like, when is Rob going to throw him into that 4-hole? And boom, we toss him right in the 4-hole and forget about it. Forget about it.
Yeah.
By the way, he also, in addition to leading the majors in RBIs, leads the majors in doubles.
Yes.
He's a good hitter.
Yeah. Both fields. He's great. He's been fantastic. So again, about a month and a half to go before all-star teams are announced, but it will be interesting to see how many of those Phillies infielders make it. Fan vote, obviously a big part of it. Team, overall one player has to come from every team, but right now, if Trea Turner comes back the next couple of weeks, you could have 4 guys in the conversation. That has not happened very often in Phillies history. One other guy I wanted to mention real quick was something that jumped out the other night. Chris Sanchez is pitching, and I'm not at the ballpark. I'm sitting in my couch, and I look up and I go, holy crap, this dude just threw 98 miles an hour in the 6th inning. So me being a geek, I go on Baseball Savant the next morning, and I check it out, and I go, that was the fastest pitch he's ever thrown in the big leagues in the 6th inning on Saturday night. And 7 of his 10 fastest pitches ever in the big leagues came on Saturday night. That's pretty amazing that he is, added. I mean, that was the talk coming in this season. He's added some muscle, added some strength. Makes him more consistent with his delivery. But man, he's throwing the ball hard. He's making the changeup better. He's looking pretty good as the Phillies number 4 starter.
He must, there are days when it just feels good coming out of your hand, and he's to me an ascending talent. He's getting better all the time. You look at the improvement they've gotten from Stott, Bohm, Sanchez, even Rojas at the big league level. It just tells you development doesn't stop when you get here, and the people here are doing a really good job with him. But he's a really nice find. I mean, that was a heck of a trade getting that guy. He plucked him out of A-ball. I think they liked his arm. They liked his velo. They thought there was something there. They, buffed him up, and they got themselves a major league starting pitcher. And that's a big commodity in this game.
So he is one of the pitchers that has the most development that I've seen in a long, long time in a very short period of time. This is a guy when they first got him, he was a thrower, had no idea where the ball was going. Had a really good arm. He could throw 96, 97 miles an hour. He had a big arm with no idea where he was going with it. I know he got a start in Boston a couple of years back, and he had a spot start, and you're like, what are you going to get out of this guy? He doesn't have a secondary pitch, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
This guy has become a totally different player. He now can command his fastball much, much better. And he did that starting last year towards the end of the year. And you can see the confidence starting to grow. He had the best single pitch, I think, in all of baseball last year, as far as stats, whatever you want to call them. That changeup was just electric last year. And I think hitters hit like 0-20 off of it or whatever the number was, but it was outstanding.
It's great.
Don't let the numbers get in the way of a good story. And the fact that, he's starting to develop, they tried the cutter during the course of the spring. That didn't work out for him because he lost the feel of his changeup. So he went back to his, slider and changeup combination as his secondaries. And now he's gained so much confidence that he's firing that fastball with the same velocity he used to have now, because he can command it and he trusts it, and he trusts his ability to throw it for a strike. And as you said, Todd, that's making that changeup so much more effective. And he actually threw some really good sliders his last outing. So he's starting to gain all of this stuff and confidence. And I'll tell you what, if you stand next to this guy, he's like 6'5". He's gigantic.
He's tall. He's
a big, strong dude. And he seems durable. I mean, it was a great trade. I think it was Matt Klentak who made that trade. He should get some love for that.
And what's funny about that trade is that they traded Sanchez for Curtis Mead, low-level infielder, and Curtis Mead kind of shot off as a prospect. And there was a couple of years there was like Phillies messed that one up big time. Curtis Mead's going to be a stud. Cristopher Sanchez, his velocity has dropped. Now he's a long guy. Potentially maybe a reliever. He's not very good. And now the script is flipped because of his continued development. And now they have a really good number 4 star. Ruben, you weren't too off. Sanchez's changeup, they hit 148 against him last season. This year, 174, but only a 217 slug. So like if they hit it, it's weak contact. His ground ball rate is one of the top ground ball rates in all of baseball. Everything is on the ground because of that changeup. He's been phenomenal. So let's look ahead we talked about this last week when we were answering listener questions. Phillies haven't played anybody, blah, blah, blah. They're playing the Rangers this week. They're 500, but they are the defending World Series champions. So they're a bit of a mess right now with injuries. So Tuesday, it's going to be John Gray versus Ranger. Wednesday, Taijuan Walker is most likely going to return or stay in the rotation, make his start after taking that ball off his foot. It sounds like that's going to happen unless there's something crazy that happens over the next couple of days. Rangers do not have a starter named yet, but it could be left-hander Andrew Haney, who's 0-5 with a 4.43 ERA. And then Thursday, it's going to be
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go, Ruben.
I thought is Wheeler going to be pitching on Thursday? I think he's going to be because he wants to stay in rotation, right?
Right. It's going to be Wheeler, I think, versus, and the Rangers don't know who it's going to be yet. Could be Dane Dunning, could be coming back from the injured list. He's got a rotator cuff, or otherwise it could be Jose Urena. Adolis Garcia is kind of banged up right now after a collision the other day. But he might come back. But it'll be a good test. I mean, they have the pedigree, no doubt. They're the defending World Series champions, so that should make this series a little bit of fun for those people clamoring for a top talented team for the Phillies to sink their teeth into.
Well, the eye test, I know their schedule has been soft, just because the makeup of, most of the National League has a lot of soft teams. But the Phillies have done what you do to a soft team. You put them through the wood chipper. But the eye test tells me the Phillies are a good team. And, even beyond what the records of the opponents. I mean, we've kind of gone through so many, what we're seeing on the pitcher's mound, what we're seeing on the offense. They're a good club. And I just, the tests will get harder, but I still think obviously one of the biggest tests is just going to be over the next 4 months, just staying consistent, staying hungry. And everything that I see tells me they can pass that test.
Totally agree, Jim. They have some depth, obviously on their bench. They have some depth in their rotation. I think that they're really improving. I mean, from May 1st on, their bullpen has been top tier. It really has been. It's in the top 5 of almost every single category: ERA, WHIP, batting average against. Since May 1st, it's been really, really good. There's always everybody's panicking about it. I know Sir Anthony Dominguez is one of the pieces of it, and he hasn't been as consistent as you would want him to be. I think he's getting a little bit better. But you got Kerkering, you got Strom, who's been phenomenal. You've got
so good.
You've got Alvarado and Hoffman, who've been terrific. I don't think there's a whole lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that are pretty envious of what they got in the back end of that bullpen too.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah, well, guys, we will be back later this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching on YouTube, and we'll be back.
Have a great day, guys. Smell you later.
Smell you, Jim.
This is The Phillies Show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to The Phillies Show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel. If you like what we do, give us a review. Tell a friend. Catch Ruben, Jim, and me on Phillies Nation TV, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. New episodes air an hour before every Saturday Phillies game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Replays air throughout the week and on PhilliesNation.com. Get more of Ruben's analysis during, before, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Read Jim at the All City Network at allphly.com. Find more of me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and occasionally on MLB Network.